Hi there, welcome back to the program as we head towards the second hour of trade. Here's the picture as far as the local market is concerned. Fell out of bed as was expected according to futures and sort of stayed there, to be honest. Down 28 points once again. Like a moth to the flame, dragged back towards that 6,200 level. Well, it has been a big week with the federal budget, of course, on Tuesday. Official reply from Labor last night. So what has been happening in the market? Volumes, particularly investment trends around the budget. Well, here to talk us through it, Gemma Dale from nabtrade joins me at the desk. Have we seen much action around the budget in terms of market trades and volumes?
We actually saw far more activity on Tuesday prior to the budget than we saw on Wednesday and Thursday, which is interesting. Same thing happened last year. So a lot of preemptive action, and then after the fact, people sort of calmed down and sat on their positions, which was quite interesting. But we've seen some longer term trends. The one that is most significant is a very significant shift to the sells at the moment in our investor base. And it's not the number of confirmations, so it's not the number of trades, it's the size of the trades on the sell side. So SMSFs in particular, their sell side trades are 70% higher than their buy side trades at the moment. Telling us a lot about how they're feeling.
A view that the market's capped out.
That the market's capped out and that they are sitting tight waiting for some news, I think, on various positions they've got. So there are three things in particular they're selling down on for different reasons quite clearly when you look at the three. So Telstra is one, Fortescue and BHP are the other two. And the trend is both selling down the size of the position but also the number of people getting out completely. So if you look at those three stocks, you can see sort of concerns about longer term viability on one, and then the other two going, God, we've had a beautiful run. Fortescue, you're up 85% so far this year. That doesn't happen very often. Maybe I'll just take my profits and run with that one.
What about on buying? Like buying, if the size that hasn't been as big as the selling, where has the trend to be buying going? It's been quite variable. The one thing we've seen that has been astonishing is ETFs. So people saying, look, I'm not trying to generate alpha anymore. I'm going for beta. I'm just going to see what the market will give me. I'm not going to try to pick what's going to work in this environment. So we have seen extraordinarily high average trade sizes on ETFs this last week in particular, $250,000 average trade sizes in ASX 200 and higher than that again in high yield. So as ASX high yields, which is an interesting choice at the present time. So they're the ones that are getting a huge amount of money. But we've also seen a significant trend to ETFs in general. So they're up 16% year to date. Year on year, they're up over 40%. There's been this really strong shift to just taking what the market will give you. What does that tell you about the investor? What does that tell you about sentiment around the market then?
I think what we're seeing in terms of sentiment is people, they couldn't have predicted the iron ore price lift, right? They did not see that coming. Treasury didn't see it either, so you don't need to beat yourself up about that one. If you look at the budget forecast from last year and this year, they're at $55, right? So if you missed it, so did they. Or perhaps they're looking slightly longer term. So we can see with our investors, they're saying, look, things have run really strongly, much more strongly than I expected. I'm happy to either go to cash, which is all of that selling, or alternatively, I'll just go to an ETF, take the beta for the time being, and then come back probably post-election. I think a lot of our investors are saying, there is a significant possibility of a change of government. There is a lot of legislative change that is potential at this point in time. I'm happy to write it out.
Internationally, are we seeing much pick up at all?
We're still seeing a lot of investing offshore. It's been very interesting to see our investors move to both buying and selling offshore, not just buying. So for the first couple of years offshore, they were just buying and building a portfolio. They've become much more sophisticated in their trading. We saw a lot of buying in Atlassian the last week, which has been quite interesting.
I think it hit an all-time high actually during the week over on the NASDAQ.
Yeah, they've been doing quite nicely. I think the guys have been in the press as well, which reminds everybody that we have a big Australian tech company worth investing in. You just don't see it on the ASX. So I think that reminds people that that's somewhere they might want to be. They're getting back into NVIDIA, which is interesting. So NVIDIA was hugely popular with our investors 2 to 3 years ago, had that spectacular run and then got absolutely destroyed last year. They got out quite early in that downturn and they're starting to get back in again. So perhaps they're looking to enjoy the ride.
It's selling 10 cents.
Selling 10 cents. Which was also one of the...
as well,
it has done. Yeah, look, they loved Tencent last year. It was in our top 10 most traded stocks. we know, sorry, most traded internationally, not on the ASX obviously. When we look at what our investors love, they were very enthusiastic about US tech stocks, started to move into Chinese tech stocks. To sell, Tencent says, I've had my run, I'm happy to get out now.
All right, Gemma Dale, we've got to leave it there. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Gemma Dale there from nabtrade.